The night before I left my village, my mother packed my suitcase with rice, dried fish, and a secret she would not tell me until I was already gone. I did not know about the secret then. I only knew that my hands were shaking as I folded my only good dress, and that the whole of Umokpa could hear my mother singing hymns in our small kitchen while she cried quietly into the pot of soup. My name is Amara Okoro. I am 19 years old. I grew up in a village where the red earth sticks to your feet in the rainy season, and the harmattan dust turns everything white in December. Umokpa is not on most maps. We have one primary school, one borehole that works sometimes, and a market that opens every 4 days. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows your business before you do. Before we continue, if you are new to my channel, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the bell notification icon so you will be the first to be notified anytime I upload a new story. Let's continue. When people ask me where I am from now, I tell them that story first because it explains everything else. I did not grow up with much, but I grew up with love that was loud. My father died when I was 8. I remember the day clearly because it was the first time I saw my mother, Neka, stop talking. She's a woman who can argue with a trader over 10 naira for 20 minutes and win. That day, they brought my father's body back from the farm on the back of a motorcycle. He had a heart attack under the mango tree. From that afternoon, my mother became both mother and father, and she carried us like someone carrying water in a basket, careful not to spill a drop. We are three: me, my mother, and my younger brother Chike, who is 14 now and thinks he is a man because he can fix radios. After my father died, my mother started frying akara by the roadside at 5 in the morning. She would wake before the roosters, pound beans, light firewood, and sit in the smoke until her eyes turned red. With that money, she paid our school fees, bought our uniforms, and bought paracetamol when Chike had malaria. I learnt early that poverty is not just having no money. It is having to choose. It is choosing between new books and new shoes. It is choosing between eating meat on Sunday and paying for extra lessons. My mother always chose school. She would say, Amara, education is the only suitcase that nobody can steal from you at the park. I believed her. I wanted to be a doctor, not because I liked the white coat, but because I watched my father die without a doctor nearby. The nearest clinic was 7 kilometers away in Ameke, and by the time they found a vehicle, he was gone. I was 8, and I promised myself that no child in Umokpa would lose a parent like that if I could help it. That promise became my prayer. School became my church. Our secondary school had broken windows and teachers who sometimes did not come because they had not been paid. I studied under a kerosene lamp that smoked and made my eyes water. I copied notes from classmates because we could not afford all the textbooks. I read by moonlight when we had no kerosene. My best friend Ifeoma would laugh at me and say, Amara, you will burn your brain. Ifeoma was the only person who understood my madness. She wanted to be a fashion designer and would draw dresses on the back of our exercise books while I solved biology questions. We promised each other that we would leave Umokpa together, she to Lagos, me to somewhere far. In SS3, our principal, Mr. Eze, called me to his office. I thought I was in trouble. He pushed a printed email across his desk. It was a scholarship offer from a foundation in the United Kingdom. They were offering partial funding for brilliant African girls in science to study pre-medicine abroad. My WAEC results were the best in the local government. Mr. Eze said, Amara, God has remembered your mother's smoke. I ran home barefoot that day. I did not even wait for Okada. My mother was frying akara. I shouted the news, and she dropped her turning stick into the hot oil. She held my face with her oily hands and said, Chinekeme, God has done it. Chike danced around the fire. Ifeoma cried. For 1 week, Umokpa celebrated me like I had already become a doctor. Then reality came. The scholarship was partial. It paid tuition but not flight, not visa, no accommodation, no feeding. The total we needed was 2,800,000 naira. My mother had never held 200,000 at once in her life. That is when my mother's elder brother, Uncle Obina, entered the story properly. Uncle Obina had left Nigeria 15 years before and lived in London. He came home once every 3 years with big shoes, a big accent, and stories about snow. He would spray money at weddings and promise to help people, then disappear. My mother did not like asking him for things. She said pride was the only wrapper a poor woman had left. But for me, she swallowed it. She called him on WhatsApp. I sat beside her and heard his voice, deep and confident. He said, Neka, don't worry. This is our star. Send me the admission letter. I will handle the rest. She will stay with me in Peckham until she settles. London is expensive, but family is family. I will never forget how my mother knelt after that call and thanked God. I will also never forget the way Uncle Obina said our star, like he owned a piece of me. We still needed money. The village did something I will never forget. On the next Eke Market Day, the women's meeting contributed. Mama Ifeoma gave 20,000. The Youth Association did a fundraiser. Mr. Eze gave his salary for 1 month. My mother sold her only goat and her second wrapper, the blue one with flowers she wore to church. Ifeoma braided hair for 2 weeks straight and gave me all the money. When we counted it, we had almost enough. Uncle Obina sent 300,000 and promised to pay the rest when I arrived. The night before my flight, the whole compound gathered. They prayed over me for 2 hours. The pastor anointed my forehead with oil until it dripped into my eyes. Old Mama, Ugu, who is almost blind, held my hands and said, Go and make us proud, but do not forget the taste of home. My mother did not sleep. She ironed my clothes 3 times. She packed gari, egusi, dry fish, and even a small Bible with my name written inside. At the bottom of the suitcase, under my clothes, she slipped a brown envelope and sealed it with tape. I saw it. Mama, what is that? I asked. She smiled, but her eyes were wet. It is just prayers on paper. Open it only when you feel like you cannot breathe in that cold country. Promise me. I promise. I thought it was just a mother being dramatic. At dawn, we left for Enugu in a bus. The whole village followed us to the junction singing. Ifeoma hugged me so tight, I thought my ribs would break. She whispered, Don't change, Amara. Don't let London wash away your accent. Chike tried to act strong, but when the bus moved, I saw him wipe his face with his sleeve. My mother did not cry until the bus turned the corner. Then she raised her hand and shouted, Go well, my daughter. From Enugu, we went to Lagos. The airport was bigger than our entire village. I had never seen so many white lights. My passport photo looked like a scared child. At immigration, the officer stamped it and said, Good luck. I held my suitcase like it was a baby. The plane was a miracle and a terror. I sat by the window next to a Nigerian woman who lived in Manchester. She gave me chewing gum for my ears and told me to pray during turbulence. When the plane lifted, I watched Lagos become small lights, then darkness, then clouds. I thought of my mother frying akara in the dark, of Chike fixing radios, of Ifeoma drawing dresses. I thought, this is it, the beginning of the beautiful life. I landed at Heathrow at 6, 12 inches the morning. London was cold in a way I had never felt. The cold entered my nose and made my teeth ache. Everything was grey and fast. People walked like they were late for Judgment Day. I dragged my big suitcase through arrivals, my heart beating like a drum at a funeral. Uncle Obina had said he would be waiting at the exit with a sign that said Amara. I looked for him for 1 hour. I looked for every black man in a coat. I called his number. It rang and rang. I called again. A woman picked up on the 5th try. She sounded sleepy and annoyed. Hello? Who is this? I stammered, "Good morning, ma. Please, I am looking for Uncle Obinna. I am Amara, his niece from Nigeria. He was supposed to pick me." There was a long pause. Then she laughed, but it was not a kind laugh. His niece? Obinna never told me he had a niece coming today. He traveled to Birmingham yesterday for work. He won't be back for 3 days. My suitcase handle slipped from my hand. The cold floor of Heathrow seemed to tilt. "Ma, please," I whispered. "He said I would stay with him. I have nowhere to go." She sighed. "Look, I am his flatmate. He didn't mention anything. You can wait here if you want, but you cannot come here. We don't have space." The call ended. People pushed past me with their trolleys. An announcement said something about unattended luggage. My phone battery was at 4%. My hands were shaking so hard I could not hold it. I sat on my suitcase in the middle of the busiest airport in the world. A village girl with big dreams and a suitcase full of fish. And for the first time since my father died, I felt completely alone. Then, I remembered the brown envelope my mother hid. With frozen fingers, I opened my suitcase right there on the floor, pushing aside clothes while security stared at me. I tore the tape. Inside was not just prayers. It was a letter in my mother's handwriting and a second folded paper that looked old, with a hospital stamp on it. The first line of my mother's letter said, "My dearest Amara, if you are reading this, it means I could not tell you face to face. The man you call Uncle Obinna is not your uncle." I stopped breathing. The noise of Heathrow disappeared. I read the next line, and my whole life cracked open. "Your real father is alive, and he lives in London. His name is Obinna." I stared at the paper, my tears falling, as London's cold air swallowed the village girl I had always believed to be. I did not move for a long time. People walked around me at Heathrow like I was lost luggage. My suitcase was open on the cold floor, dried fish spilling out, and in my hands were two papers heavier than everything I owned. I read my mother's letter again, slowly, because my tears made the words shake. "My dearest Amara, if you are reading this, it means I could not tell you face to face. The man you call Uncle Obinna is not your uncle. Your real father is alive and he lives in London. His name is Obinna. When I was 18, I loved him. I got pregnant with you. He denied it and left for England. My family was ashamed. They forced me to marry your Papa Okoro from the next village. He knew you were not his blood, but he raised you as his own and loved you until God took him under the mango tree. I never told you because I wanted you to have a father without shame. Forgive me. I am writing now because I am sick, my daughter. The doctors at UNTH say I have cancer in my womb. I did not want to burden you before your exams, so I kept quiet. I called Obinna and begged him. I told him, if anything happens to me, take care of our daughter. He cried and promised. He sent money for your ticket. He promised to give you a home. Do not hate him at first. Give him a chance. If he fails you, remember who you are. You are Amara, daughter of Neka, the woman who fried akara in smoke to send you to school. You do not need a man to make you great. God is with you." The second paper was a hospital report. Neka Okoro, age 42. Diagnosis: advanced cervical carcinoma. Recommendation: urgent chemotherapy. Date: 3 weeks before my flight. My chest caved in. I could not breathe in that cold country, just like she said. My father, the man I mourned at 8, was not my father. The man I called uncle, who left me at the airport, was my father. And my mother, my strong mother, was dying in Nigeria while I sat on a floor in London. I wanted to scream, but no sound came. I kept seeing my mother's hands, oily from Akara, holding my face the day I got the scholarship. I kept seeing Papa Okoro's grave we cleaned every December. All of it was built on a lie told to protect me. And now the lie was choking me. A security officer touched my shoulder. Miss, you can't sit here. I looked up. I tried English, but my voice broke into Igbo. Biko, help me. He called a woman in a blue cleaning uniform. Her tag said blessing. She knelt and spoke Igbo. Mama, what happened? When I heard my language, I broke. I cried into her chest. I told her everything fast. Scholarship, Obinna, the letter, no place to sleep. Auntie Blessing did not ask too much. She said, stand up. The devil is a liar. She helped me pack my fish. She took me to the staff room, gave me hot tea that burned my tongue, and plugged my dead phone into her charger. While it charged, she called her son. I heard him shouting about his landlord. Her face fell. She squeezed my hand. It's okay. My phone came on. 10 missed calls from Mama, 2 from Ifeoma, none from Obinna. Auntie Blessing wrote an address on tissue. This is where Obinna lives in Peckham. His flatmate said he went to Birmingham, but he will come back. Face him. I had never been on a train. The underground was a loud snake underground. People did not look at each other. Auntie Blessing paid for my Oyster card with her own money. She held my suitcase and changed trains with me at Green Park. She told me to keep my bag closed because London steals fast. She prayed in Igbo under her breath the whole way, and that prayer kept me from falling apart. When we got to Peckham Rye, the sky was dark. The streets smelled like suya and chicken. Nigerian music played from a shop. For a second, I felt home. The flat was above a betting shop. A girl with pink hair opened the door. Tasha. Yes, she said. Auntie Blessing spoke. We are looking for Obinna Okoro. His daughter is here from Nigeria. Tasha looked at my cheap coat and big suitcase. She smirked. His daughter? Wow. He has a wife and 2 kids in Birmingham. Love. Sarah is going to kill him. My heart stopped. Wife? Yeah. White woman. Sarah. 2 boys. He never mentioned a grown daughter. He told us his family died. He told me not to let anyone in, especially not a girl from Nigeria. Auntie Blessing was angry. You leave a child at the airport? Tasha shrugged. Not my business. She closed the door. I stood on that cold stairwell and felt shame, not sadness. My father had a new life. He chose, and he was ashamed of me. He paid for my ticket out of guilt, then ran. I imagined him sitting in Birmingham eating dinner with his sons, while I sat on an airport floor with my mother's fish. Auntie Blessing gave me £20. Her eyes were wet. Noam, I will take you home, but my son shares one room. Go to this church on Chumet Road. Tell them Sister Blessing sent you. They have shelter. Don't sleep outside. You will die. She hugged me and left. I watched the only mother I had in London walk away. I dragged my suitcase to the church. It was a small hall above a grocery store. The pastor's wife, Sister Kemi, was locking up. She was tall and Yoruba. I told her my story in pieces. She did not judge. She opened the hall and gave me a blanket and jollof rice. Eat, my daughter. God did not bring you across the sea to die. That night I slept on a plastic chair, my suitcase as my pillow. I could not sleep. I kept reading Mama's letter. I kept seeing the word cancer. I thought of Chike alone in our house, trying to cook. I thought of Mama in a hospital ward, calling my name, and me not there. The guilt was worse than the cold. I borrowed Sister Kemi's phone and called Ifeoma. Ifeoma screamed, Amara, how is Snow? How is your uncle? I lied because truth would break her. Everything is fine. Uncle picked me. The house is big. She laughed. I told you, God is good. I hung up and cried into the blanket until my eyes burned. The next morning, a young man came to drop food. He wore a university hoodie. Sister Kemi called him. David, come. This is your sister. David Okafor was a third-year medical student at King's College. He had kind eyes. and spoke Igbo. When he heard I had a scholarship and nowhere to stay, he said, "My flat is full, but we have a sofa. You can stay 3 nights until school hostel opens. No man will touch you, I swear." I followed him to his tiny flat in New Cross. It smelled like Indomie and bleach. They gave me the sofa, a towel, and a charger. His roommates, two Ghanaian boys, moved their shoes so I would have space. For the first time since Heathrow, someone treated me like a human being. David let me use his laptop. I typed Obinna Okoro on Facebook. There he was, profile picture, him smiling with a white woman and two mixed boys at Legoland, Birmingham, 3 days ago. Bio, husband, father, logistics manager. My hands shook as I sent a message. Dad, it's Amara. I am in London. You left me at Heathrow. Mama is sick. Please call me. He read it instantly. 2 hours later, he replied, Don't call me dad. I sent money for your school. That is all I owe Neka. I have a family here. They don't know about you. Don't bring Nigerian drama to my door. Do not contact my wife. I read it 5 times. Each time it cut deeper. This was a man who chose to abandon me twice, once before I was born, and again at the airport. I wanted to be angry, but I mostly felt small, like a mistake he had hidden for 19 years. David read over my shoulder. Animals there for human skin. He squeezed my shoulder. Focus on school. That is your revenge. On Monday, I went to orientation. My scholarship paid tuition, not housing. The international office said the hardship fund had a 3-month wait. I filled the form with shaking hands. In class, I met Vanessa. She was British Nigerian, rich, with long weave. When she heard my accent, she laughed. Oh my God, are you fresh off the boat? Did you bring Gary? Everyone laughed. I felt village shame burn my face. I wanted to answer her, but my throat closed. I was too tired from sleeping on a sofa and worrying about my mother to fight. I wanted to run back to Umokpa. I wanted my mother's kitchen, but I could not. My mother was in a hospital bed. That evening, while I studied on David's sofa, his phone rang. It was Chike, using Mama's phone. He was crying. Sister, Mama collapsed in the market today. They rushed her to UNTH. Doctor said the cancer has spread. She's asking for you. She keeps calling your name. Where are you? I held the phone and my world tilted. I could not tell him I was homeless on a sofa. I could not tell him our father left me. I said, Tell Mama I am fine. Tell her I started school. Tell her I love her. Chike sobbed. We don't have money for chemo. Uncle Obinna is not picking calls. I dropped the phone. David held me as I shook. I left my village with a suitcase and big dreams. And in 1 week, London had taken everything, even the truth about who I was. I thought of the whole village praying at the junction, of Mama selling her blue wrapper, of Ifelma braiding hair for me. They sent me here to become a doctor, not to beg for a sofa. I felt like I had failed them before I even started. The pain in my chest was worse than any London winter. Later that night, David's phone rang again. Unknown number. He answered, frowned, and handed it to me. It's for you, a woman. English accent. I put it to my ear. My hands were cold. Is this Amara Okoro? The voice said, sharp. Yes, ma. This is Sarah, Obina's wife. He told me everything because I saw your messages. Listen carefully. I don't care what happened 20 years ago. You will destroy my children's life if you come here. I know you have no accommodation on your visa papers. If you do not leave London and go back to Nigeria within 7 days, I will call the Home Office myself and report you for visa fraud. Do you understand me? I did not answer Sarah at first. My mouth was dry and my tongue stuck to my teeth. David was watching me from the sofa, his textbook open, but his eyes on my face. Do you understand me? Sarah repeated, her voice sharp like broken glass. I forced the words out. Yes, ma, I understand. She hung up. No goodbye, just silence. David took his phone back slowly. Who was that? I told him. Every word. When I finished, his jaw was tight. She can't do that. You have a visa. You have a CAS. She's just trying to scare you. I wanted to believe him, but fear sat in my stomach like cold water. 7 days. My father's wife had given me 7 days to leave the country that my whole village prayed for me to reach. That night I did not sleep. I lay on Davy's sofa with my eyes open, listening to the boys snore in the next room, listening to London buses outside. I kept hearing my mother's letter in my head. You do not need a man to make you great. I kept hearing Chike crying. We don't have money for chemo. I kept hearing Sarah. I will call the home office. By morning, I had made a decision. I would not run. I would fight. But first, I needed to save my mother. At 9, I went to the university international office. A kind Indian woman named Mrs. Patel listened to me for 20 minutes without interrupting. I told her everything except the part about my father, because shame still burned my throat. I just said I was homeless and my mother was sick. Mrs. Patel typed fast. Amara, you are not in breach of your visa yet, but you must register a term time address by Friday. Also, you cannot work more than 20 hours and only on payroll. Cash jobs will get you deported faster than any angry wife. She printed a list of church hostels and a food bank voucher. Go to the Student Union Legal Clinic at 2. They give free immigration advice. I thanked her and walked out into the cold. My phone rang. It was Chaike. Sister, the doctor said Mama must start chemo in 5 days or the cancer will block her womb completely. The first deposit is 850,000 naira. The women's meeting raised 200. Mr. Eze sold his motorcycle. We still need 500,000. If we don't pay, they will send her home to die. 500,000 naira. That was almost 400 pounds. I had 20 pounds left from Auntie Blessing. I called Auntie Blessing from a bus stop. She answered on her break, the sound of vacuum cleaners behind her. Mama, how are you? I cried into the phone. She did not tell me to stop. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she said, my supervisor needs night cleaners at Terminal 5. £10 an hour, cash in hand. It is not legal for your visa, but God understands when a child wants to save her mother. You start tonight, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Can you do it? I said yes before she finished. What choice did I have? That night I cleaned toilets at Heathrow, the same airport where I had landed a week before with dreams. I wore a yellow vest and rubber gloves. I scrubbed floors while flights from Lagos landed, and people hugged their families. My back hurt. My eyes burned from bleach. By 4, I had £60 in my pocket. I went straight to the library for my 9 a.m. lecture. I fell asleep during biology. Vanessa, the girl who mocked my accent, kicked my chair. Fresh off the boat, wake up. You're drooling on the desk. The class laughed. I wanted to disappear. I packed my bag and ran to the toilets and locked myself in a stall and cried silently so no one would hear my village accent break. The door creaked. Vanessa's voice came. Are you okay in there? I wiped my face. Leave me alone. She did not leave. She slid a tissue under the door. Look, I was a bitch yesterday. My mom says I get it from my dad. He's Nigerian and he left us when I was 6. I hear your accent and I get angry at him. Not you. I opened the door. Her makeup was perfect, but her eyes were soft. I work nights too, I said quietly. My mother has cancer in Nigeria. I need money. She stared at me. Then she did something I did not expect. She hugged me. My mom is a solicitor, immigration and family law. Come to my house tomorrow. She will talk to you for free. For the first time since London, A rich girl did not feel like an enemy. When I got back to David's flat that evening, his roommates were arguing in the kitchen. The Ghanaian boy, Kojo, pointed at my suitcase. Bro, landlord is coming tomorrow for inspection. We can't have a girl on the sofa. It's in the contract. David argued back. She has nowhere else. Kojo shrugged. 3 nights was 3 nights. I stood in the doorway holding my £60, feeling like a burden again. David followed me to the hallway. Amara, stay. I will talk to him. Then he looked at the floor. I like you, not just as a sister. I see how strong you are. Let me help you. My heart was too full of my mother to hold any love. David, thank you, but I can't. Not now. My mother is dying, and your father's wife wants to deport me. I have no space for anything else. He nodded, hurt, but kind. I understand. My phone buzzed. A bank alert. Obina had sent me money, £2,000. The reference said, take this and go home. Do not contact us again. £2,000. It was a ticket home and my mother's chemo and 3 months' rent. It was also hush money from a man who denied me twice. I stared at the screen until David asked what was wrong. I showed him. He hissed, blood money. I did not sleep that night. I worked another shift at Heathrow. By Thursday morning, I had £140 from cleaning, plus Obina's 2,000. I had enough to save Mama. But Sarah's 7 days were almost finished. I decided I would not take his money like a thief in the night. I would look my father in the eye and return it, and beg him to tell Sarah the truth. I told David. He borrowed his friend's old Toyota. On Friday, we drove to Birmingham. 4 hours in rain. My hands shook the whole way. Obina agreed to meet me at a service station on the M6, not at his house. He was scared of Sarah. When he walked in, I almost did not recognize him. He was shorter than in photos, his hair grey at the sides, his fine London coat too big for him. He sat across from me and did not hug me. Amara. I pushed the phone with the bank transfer toward him. I don't want your money if it comes with shame. I just want you to tell your wife to leave me alone. And I want you to help Mama. She is dying. He looked at the table. Sarah already called the home office on Tuesday. She gave them your name. They will send you a letter. My stomach dropped. Then he said the words that broke me a second time. Neka was a good woman, but she did not tell you everything. The year you were born, she was also seeing my cousin Emeka. I left England because I was young and scared, not because I was sure you were mine. I sent money to Okoro for years to keep him quiet and raise you. I am not even sure I am your father, Amara. I paid for your tickets because Neka begged me on her sick bed. Take the money, save her, then go back to Nigeria and live your life. Please. The service station noise faded. I felt 19 years of identity fall off me like old clothes. First, Papa Okoro was not my father. Now Obina might not be either. Who was I? I stood up. My voice was shaking but clear. You are a coward. Whether you are my blood or not, you left a pregnant girl in a village and built a new life with lies. My mother fried akara in smoke to make me a doctor. I will become one, and I will never be like you. I left the £2,000 on the table and walked out. David followed me. In the car, I cried until I could not breathe. On the drive back, my phone rang. Sister Kemi. Amara, 2 men from the home office came to the church today asking for you. They left a card. They want to do a compliance visit. David gripped the wheel. We need to get you a proper address tonight. When we got to London, I went straight to the Western Union at Peckham. I sent £1,800 to Chike. I kept 200 for food. I did not touch Obina's money. I used my cleaning wages and borrowed the rest from David. Chike called me 10 minutes later, screaming with joy. Sister, the money came. They have moved Mama to the chemo ward. She opened her eyes and asked for you. I sank to the floor of the shop and thanked God out loud. People stared. I did not care. That night, Vanessa brought her mother to David's flat. Her mother, Mrs. Adeyemi, was a tall British Nigerian solicitor in a sharp suit. She listened to my story, to Sarah's threat, to the home office visit. She said, Sarah's call is harassment. But Amara, working cash in hand at Heathrow, is a real breach. If they catch you, they will cancel your visa. Stop immediately. I will represent you pro bono. We will write to the home office first, with proof of enrollment and a new address. We can win this. Hope rose in my chest for the first time in 2 weeks. Maybe I could stay. Maybe I could study. Maybe Mama would leave. Then my phone rang again. It was Ifeoma, not Chike. She was screaming and crying so loud I could not understand her. Ifeoma, calm down. What happened? She gasped. Amara, it's Mama. Chike just called me. She finished the first chemo this afternoon and then she collapsed. The doctors are doing everything. They say her heart is weak. They say come home now. They say she may not make it through the night. I held the phone as the room spun. David reached for me. Vanessa's mother started talking about leave. I heard nothing. My mother, who sold her wrapper and fried akara for me, was dying while I fought deportation in London. I had left to become a doctor, but in just 1 week, I had become a cleaner, a liar, a fatherless daughter, and an orphan. I did not book a flight that night. I could not. Mrs. Adeyemi held my shoulders and spoke to me like a mother. Amara, listen to me. If you leave now without a formal leave of absence, the university will report you to the home office and your visa will be cancelled automatically. You will never come back. Your mother did not sell her wrapper for you to come and go in 1 month. David was already on his laptop. The next flight to Lagos is 6 hours, then Enugu. You will land tomorrow evening. That's almost 24 hours. Vanessa squeezed my hand, called the hospital, asked for the doctor directly. I called Chike on video. He was in the hospital corridor, his face swollen from crying. He turned the camera to Mama. She was on a bed with tubes in her nose. Her eyes were closed. Her breathing was slow. A nurse was pressing her chest gently. Chike whispered, She woke up for 5 minutes after chemo. She asked for you. She said, Tell Amara not to come. Tell her to stay in school. Then she slept again. I put my hand over my mouth to stop the scream. My mother was dying, and her last wish was for me not to come. Mrs. Adeyemi took the phone. She spoke to the doctor in clear English. I heard words like cardiac arrest, sepsis, stabilized. The doctor said she is critical but stable for now. We cannot promise the night. I made the hardest decision of my life. I stayed. I did not sleep. I sat on the floor and prayed the same prayer I prayed when I was 8 under the kerosene lamp. At 5 a.m., Chai called again. Mama was awake. She put the phone to her ear. Her voice was thin, like paper. Amara. Nua M. Mama, I'm here. I'm here. She coughed. I saw you in my dream. You were wearing white. You were a doctor. Don't cry for me. I am proud. I was crying so hard I could not speak. Listen, she whispered. Obina is not your father. Emeka is. My cousin Emeka. He died in a car accident in Onitsha 5 years ago. He never knew about you. I told you Obina because I was ashamed. Forgive me. You are not a mistake. You are my miracle. The room went silent. Even David stopped typing. My mother continued. The money you sent. Thank you. Use the rest for school. Don't come back for my burial. Come back as a doctor. Promise me. I promised through tears. I promise, Mama. She smiled on the video. A small, tired smile. I can go now. The phone slipped from Chaike's hand. Nurses rushed in. The screen went black. For 3 hours I did not breathe. Chike did not call. Ifeoma did not call. At 9:17 a.m. London time, Chike sent a voice note. He was wailing, "Mama is gone. She just left us." I did not scream. I did not faint. I just sat on David's cold floor and felt the world end quietly. The woman who fried akara in smoke, who sold her blue wrapper, who carried me like water in a basket, was gone, and I was not there to hold her hand. Vanessa held me while I shook. David made tea no one drank. Mrs. Adeyemi cancelled all her meetings and stayed. That afternoon, the Home Office letter came by email, not to me, to the university. Mrs. Patel forwarded it. Compliance interview required due to third-party report of address irregularity. Failure to attend may result in curtailment. Sarah had done it, she reported me. Mrs. Adeyemi smiled a hard smile. Good, now we fight. She wrote back the same day with evidence. My enrollment, my scholarship letter, my new tenancy agreement. Vanessa's mother had called a Nigerian landlady in Deptford who rented me a small room for cheap, with a proper contract, because her own daughter had died of cancer the year before. Mrs. Adeyemi also attached my mother's death certificate, which Chike sent on WhatsApp, and a letter requesting compassionate consideration. She wrote one more letter to Sarah. Dear Mrs. Sarah Okoro, I represent Amara Okoro. Your harassment and false reports to the Home Office after your husband abandoned his biological daughter at Heathrow constitutes coercive control. Withdraw your complaint within 48 hours or we will file for an injunction and notify your husband's employer of his immigration fraud in sponsoring a dependent he abandoned. We did not hear from Sarah again. 3 days later, Mama was buried in Umokpa. The whole village came. Mr. Eze sent me a video. They sang the hymn she loved. Ifeoma stood by the grave in the blue wrapper Mama had sold for me, which Ifeoma had secretly bought back from the buyer. Chike held the Bible Mama packed for me. They lowered her into the red earth she had farmed all her life. I watched on a cracked phone screen in a Deptford room, wearing my white lab coat from anatomy class, and I wept until my eyes were empty. Ifeoma called me after. Amara, your mother left a box for you. She said, open it when you become a doctor. I am keeping it. I thanked her. I knew what was inside. Love. Obina called me a week after the burial. He was crying. Amara, Sarah left me. She took the boys. She found the letters from Neka I hid. I am sorry. I failed you. I was quiet for a long time. Then I said, I forgive you, not for you, for me. My mother said I do not need a man to make me great. She was right. He sent me £5,000 anonymously through Miss Adeyemi's firm. I used it to pay Chike's school fees and to start a small akara stand for Ifeoma in Enugu so she would not have to braid hair for 14 hours. The Home Office closed the case. No breach found. My visa was safe. I stopped cleaning at Heathrow. I got a legal library job, 20 hours a week, shelving books. I studied harder than I had ever studied under the kerosene lamp. I failed my first anatomy test because of grief. I passed the second with the highest score in the class. Vanessa became my best friend. She stopped mocking accents and started teaching me how to write essays, the British way. David never pushed me about love again. He just stayed my brother. He would bring me jollof on Sundays and quiz me for exams. 1 year passed, then 2, then 3, then 4. I did not go home for Christmas. I could not afford it. Chike finished secondary school and got admission to study engineering at UNN. Ifeoma's Akara shop became 2 shops. She named the second one Neckers. In my final year of medical school, I won the Dean's Prize for Community Medicine. My project was a mobile clinic for rural women in Enugu State for cervical cancer screening, in memory of my mother. The foundation that gave me the partial scholarship gave me a full grant to build it. On graduation day, I wore the white coat my mother saw in her dream. The hall was cold and big. I walked across the stage and collected my degree, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery, with distinction. Vanessa screamed louder than anyone. David filmed everything. Mrs. Adeyemi cried. Auntie Blessing came in her church uniform. Even Tasha, Obina's old flatmate, sent a message. Your dad would be proud if he had sense. After the ceremony, I went back to my small room and opened my laptop. I had a video call with Umokpa. The whole village gathered in the primary school hall. Mr. Eze held the phone up. I spoke in Igbo. Papa, Mama, Ifeoma, Chike, Umokpa, I left this village with nothing but a suitcase, big dreams, and your prayers. London broke me. It made me lonely. It showed me betrayal. It took my mother while I was not there, but it did not take who I am. Chike was crying. Ifeoma held up Mama's box. I am Dr. Amara Neka Okoro, I said, using my mother's name as my middle name, not Obina's. I am coming home next month, not to stay, but to open Mama's clinic. The journey that was supposed to change my future ended up changing everything about who I was. I thought I came to find a father. I found myself instead. I thought I lost my home. I learned that home is not a place in London or a man who denies you. Home is the people who fried akara in smoke so you could read. The village clapped and sang. Old Mama Ugu, still almost blind, shouted, You did not forget the taste of home. Later that night, I opened my suitcase, the same one Mama packed with rice and dried fish 4 years before. At the bottom, still taped, was the brown envelope. I took out her letter and read the last line again. You do not need a man to make you great. I folded it carefully and placed it in my white coat pocket over my heart. I looked out of my London window at the grey sky. I was no longer the scared village girl sitting on a suitcase at Heathrow. I was a doctor. I was my mother's daughter. I was whole. And for the first time since I left Umokpa, I could finally breathe. I thought of the nights before I left, of Mama singing hymns, while she cried into the soup of the village, praying at the junction. I had kept my promise. I did not come back for her burial. I came back as a doctor. The suitcase was still with me, but now it carried a stethoscope, not dried fish. The secret she packed was not shame, it was strength. I looked out at the grey London sky that once swallowed me at Heathrow and whispered, Thank you, Mama. I knew she heard me because the tightness in my chest finally lifted. The girl who left her village to study abroad did not find the beautiful life she imagined. She found loneliness that taught her to stand alone. She found betrayal that taught her to choose her family. She found heartbreak that taught her forgiveness. She found painful secrets that taught her identity is not blood, but love. The journey that was supposed to change my future ended up changing everything about who I was, what I believed, and where I truly belonged. I belonged to myself. I belonged to Umokpa. I belonged to every woman who would walk into Neka's clinic and leave. I was no longer waiting for a father to claim me or a country to accept me. I was Dr. Amara Neka Okoro, daughter of a woman who fried akara in smoke. And for the first time since I left my village with nothing but a suitcase and big dreams, I could finally breathe. I placed Mama's letter in my coat pocket over my heart. I would carry her on every ward round, in every diagnosis, in every single life I saved in her holy name forever and always with pride.